Okay, welcome back again everyone. Been quite a few things happening. I don't put these videos out every week. The week I make it, it's a few weeks time before this one will go out, and it's been a few weeks since I made a video, and I'll explain that as we go along. Now I don't know if you can see in the background something there. You'll have a bit of a laugh at this later, but we'll have a look at that in a second. But I've been busy doing a few things. One is for a mate of mine called Mike, and he wanted a few parts made for the rear axle on his little 125 which he races, and I might be racing with him in a few weeks time, like a 24-hour endurance race on it, so that'll be a bit of a laugh. So I'll just show you what I've been up to there. Right, so he sent us a few parts which he wanted making and adjusting. So first thing, the spacer was much fatter, so I took a bit off the front at the right size. He wanted a little cap that goes on top of a bar which he's got on a stand, which is the wrong size for his bike, so it's just a little bit of an adapter. And this spacer on the other side was a little bit small, so he wanted a bigger one made, so I've made that up. And also the axle, well, the axle's a lot longer than what he wanted, so I've extended the thread on the lathe, and I'm leaving it up to him, so once he gets it in place he can just cut it off whatever length he wants. So Mike, they're going to be in the post here just now. Right, so the next thing, which is in my garage, which I've been tripping over all the time, is this here. Now it's only part of the project. It's an engine of a Suzuki GS550, and I've been getting an old one. It's in a bit of a state. This is a spare engine for it, so I take the engine that's in is blown, and that's going to be a project in the future. I think I'm going to make a cafe racer out of it, so I'll be looking around for a few parts. Bikini fairing, I was going to look for one of them, and that's, as I say, future project. Right, now the other thing out here is what I've been busy with the past week or two. And as some of you may be able to see, well, it's my Honda 90 race bike. I race in a series called Plot Enduro, and we've been doing that. Yeah, so me, one of my sons and friend of mine would do Plot Enduro racing, which is a 7-hour race on a 190, and it's really good fun. Well, we're doing very well. We started in 70th position, and that gets set away in the third wave of bikes, so we're well over half a lap behind the first wave. After about 4.5 hours we'd made it up to 8th position overall, 4th position in our class, so we're doing really well. But then disaster struck, so I don't know if you can make that out there. Head gasket blown. So lost all power, and then it just failed to run, so I had to come in and swap the engine. So the spare engine I had wasn't running very well, so we just decided to do a little bit of testing and used it as a test session the rest of the day. But we still came, I think we had an hour and 3/4 out, and we still came in 58th place, I think it was, so we're in the top 2/3 anyhow, even with that amount of time out. But what a good day. Right, today, back on with the bobber, and what I've got here, see, if you remember, we had the extinguisher which we're using for the ignition and start, and inside of there is the lithium-ion battery pack which I've been making. Right, so that's all ready to put in, but before we go ahead and do that, I've got to mount this onto the bike. So to get that in place, what I've been doing is making some cardboard brackets, so a little bit of cardboard design, and then I'm going to transfer those on a piece of steel, and then we'll get them cut out. and as you can see I've shaped them, and I've got some nuts soldered onto the extinguisher to hold them. So I'm just going to try it in place and see what it looks like. So this is the gap which the battery box is going to fit into. So it fits into there, and these pieces of the bracket are going to go either side of the seat post. So I don't know if you can see them there. So it's this lug here sticking out. So the seat post is going in between there, and I'm going to have them wrapping around a little bit and weld them around. So I'll take this off, transfer it onto a piece of steel plate which I've got, these two card templates, and then we'll get on and cut it out. Right, so we've got the two brackets there, and this was the plate which I was going to use, and I've already blackened it on one side so I can use a scribe around it, and I was going to try and get them to that same piece if I can. Yeah. Just mark around them. Right, so I've scribed those two. What I'll do is I'll just try and mark the centres, and then we'll get them drilled. Because it's much easier to try to drill a plate, well a bracket, when it's still on the plate like this, and it's a big plate you've got something to hold on to, rather than a funny shaped little bracket where you're struggling to try and hold on to it. Right, so I'll get a drill bit out and we'll get them drilled. Right, so I've been on the drill and we've got these 4 holes drilled. I need to now cut these out. So what I think I'll do, I'll go on the bandsaw and just carefully try to cut them as close as I can. So as you can see, I've got those two cut out on the bandsaw. I bolted the two together now, and as you can see they're not the same shape. So what I'm going to do now is go on the bench grinder, and I'm going to try and grind the outside profile so they both match, and then we'll come back and I think we'll get the angle grinder and try and get into these areas in here and then round the edges off. Right, so we've got the outside of this ground down on the bench grinder. I'm just going to try and go in here and round here with this disc sander and the cutting tool on the grinder, see if I can get in here, tidy it up a little bit before I start filing. Right, so I've got them both cut out, sanded or filed down around the edges. So the next thing I need to do is try and bend them. Right, so there's the template which I've used, and what I'm going to try, so I'm going to heat this up so that there's less chance of it fracturing. I'm going to mark whereabouts the bend has got to be. So I've got some French chalk here, a line there, and the same here. No, it doesn't show up very well, probably not in the camera, but you can see it there. So we'll have a go try to bend those. So I'm going to try and heat it up a little bit. Just using a little blowtorch. Less chance of it fracturing. Right, so quickly try to drop it down in the vise to the line, and then we'll use the hammer just to bend it over 90 degrees. Don't know if you can see, but you can still see the line of French chalk down there. That's where I was using. So I heated it on the back, and the French chalk was still there, the line. Now if I'd used felt tip or something, it may have burnt away. So I'm going to do that with all the other three lugs sticking out there, and then I'll get back there. Right, so I've got the brackets all bent and bolted in place, just temporary for now. I'm going to put that in place, and the down tube is going to come down here, and they're going to be welded either side. So I'm going to put that on the bike now, and we'll see if we can get that job done. Right, so we've got the battery box in place now. I've cleaned the frame to take all the paint off, and I've got it held in place just with a G-clamp, so it's got the two plates just pushing against the down tube, holding it tight. So I'll just get a couple of tack welds on it, hold it in place. Right, that's held in place okay. I think that's the last of the fabrication which I've got to do. So the next thing is going to be looking at the handlebars to put the slot in for the internal throttle slide, which I did before as a mock-up. I'd got everything ready apart from the slot in the handlebars. So I think that's going to be the next job to do. Just thought on the Honda 90 racing. I mentioned it, but I didn't say whereabouts to actually race. The last race was at Mallory Park, and the next one, if it goes ahead this year, is going to be at Anglesey, which is a really nice track as well, and it's really good fun. Right, thanks again for watching everybody. Hope to see you again next time, but in the meantime, stay safe.